Okay, the first thing we need to do is get the images off of the phone or camera and onto the PC. Now, if you're using anything other than Stop Motion Studio, I'm going to assume you know how to get the images or the videos off of your phone or camera. But if you're using Stop Motion Studio, it's pretty straightforward. I just wanted to show the options that you have and how you might go about it. So we're in Stop Motion Studio here, and on the top right, if I hit select, and I select one of our movies, we're going to just do scene 1-3 for now, and I hit share in the top left, I can choose all images. This is going to dump all of the images in the sequenced order to the iPhone's camera roll. So I'm going to say save to camera roll. It's going to take a second to prepare that, and basically it's just creating those images and dumping them into the camera roll. And then once that's complete, we're going to go and take a look at the iPhone's storage. I plug the iPhone into the PC, so this is just the internal storage. And if we go DCIM, you can see that there's 3 folders here. The first 2 are just the images that I already had on the phone, but it created a new folder. It's always going to be the last one. Stop Motion Studio created a new folder. If we go look at that, we can see that all of the images are already in here. They've been dumped. So now if we go take a look at the folder on my PC here that I've created. So I have on my desktop an editing tutorial, raw animation, scene 1-3. We just want to have good organization. So you want to organize your files so that you can easily access them and you know what they are when you're trying to move things around in the editing software. So I just have a raw animation folder, which is where I dump all the stuff that I haven't done anything to. It just came off the camera and it's ready to go. So I have a scene 1-3 folder. I'm going to Control A, Control C to copy those. Over here in the right window, I'm going to Control V, and that'll paste all those images in. And once that's complete, I'll just have that scene on my PC now that we can use for editing and resolve. Now, the other option is that we could ask Stop Motion Studio to export. Instead of exporting it as images, we could say share again, and we could export a movie. So if I do that, I'll export the movie, and then I'll scroll down and say save video. It's basically going to do the same thing that it just did, except for it's going to save it as a video instead of images. So if we go look at the folder again and we refresh this folder, we should see a movie file now at the bottom here. And if I open that movie file up, I'll just play it directly off of there. You can see that that's just the movie file that we just exported. Now, the difference there is that you're getting either images that are sequenced, and DaVinci Resolve will recognize those as sequenced images and it will have a single clip. But that way we can edit images and do different things if we want to. If you've shot your entire movie on the iPhone and you just want to export it directly onto the PC, then you would use the export movie option. Or if you want to export the individual scenes as movies and then do some editing and transitions and whatever within Resolve, you can do that as well. The first 2 scenes I have exported already as movies, and I'll show you how we work with those in Resolve. The second 2 scenes I did as images so that we can kind of see both ways to do it. But that's how you would get your images out of Stop Motion Studio and onto the PC. Okay, if we chose to export video from Stop Motion Studio as opposed to images, there's one step that we have to take to get that video ready to be used in DaVinci Resolve. It doesn't like to work with .mov files. The paid version will, but the free version won't. So if we want to get that file into a format that works with DaVinci Resolve, we have to use Handbrake or something else, but Handbrake is what we'll use today. Handbrake will allow us to convert from .mov to other formats. We're going to choose MP4, which is supported by DaVinci Resolve. So the first thing we want to do is open up Handbrake here and then go to Preferences. In Output Files, you want to check the default path and make sure it is somewhere that you would like these files to end up. So raw video is where the file is going to come from. I'm going to select processed video and say select folder. You can double click into it, say select folder, and then we can see that we have the correct path. So that's where it's going to put the file when it's done with it. Now all we're going to do is we're going to take the raw video file that we got from Stop Motion Studio and drag it over here. And then we're going to tell it to just go ahead and start encoding. The first thing we can do actually is rename the file. So let's just rename this scene 1-3. So, whoops. That was really difficult. Scene 1-3, and we have the format as MP4, so we can just say start encode, and that'll just take a second to actually process that file, and then it's going to dump it into our output directory. If we go back here and look at processed video, we can see that the queue is finished, and now scene 1-3 is processed, and it's an MP4 file that we can use in DaVinci Resolve.